Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tina and it's a beautiful day to be creating with you. Today I am sharing another layout made with our gorgeous Cozy Up collection. All right, no secret, I tell everybody, autumn color palette is my all-time favorite to craft with. I'm not exactly sure why the colors speak to me the way they do, whether it's the rich tones or that you get to really do an awesome, incredible leaf mixture with these dark and lights, and I don't know, it's just always spoken to me. But the other day I shared this layout right here. And now I'm going to be adding a companion one focused on this technique that was on this first layout. I'm working with the Scrapbook workshop, but I just like to mix things up and do them my way. So let's dive in and go ahead and hit this project. All right, we're going to take a few things off, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and mat these photo placeholders on because I am doing pre-done layouts. I'm going to be saving these for my upcoming leafer cruise. I'm getting a bucket list check in October, and I really want to save these for that. So I'll go ahead and add these off camera, and when I come back from sharing and showing all that, I will have those all ready to go. Okay, so this right here is our overlay. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to create another overlay that kind of had this same thing to bring this as a 2-page layout if you wanted to. The pages could also stand alone. But I went ahead and I prepped this, and I'm going to go ahead and pop in a video right now to show you how I created this piece. Okay, so what I'm looking to do is make it a complementary piece to this kind of crossed overlay that's in the back with those diagonal stripes to bring in all those fall colors. Now, this was done very similar to the guide, the Cozy Up Scrapbook Workshop Guide. But what I want to do is just recreate my second page. So I have, I've cut this piece at 4.5 by 11, and it's going to run this way across my page on the other side, but I want to create that cutout for it. So I'm going to go ahead, and now that I've cut it at the 4.5 by 11, I'm going to line that outer portion up at the 1, and I'm going to drop this at the 10 so that it is a 1-inch side border and 1 inch from the bottom, and then I'm going to bring it all the way up to the 1 on my cutter here, creating that cut, leaving a 1-inch border. All right, and then I'm going to repeat this process. Now for this one, since it's 4.5, we're going to go to 3.5 and then drop it down and just go right up to that 1. This one we'll do the 10 again. Always up to the 1 because we're doing a 1-inch border, which this is a 2-inch border, so I didn't want to do drastically different, but you could do a 1/2-inch border as well. 3.5 up to the 1, and we'll see what little trimming we have to do. None. Okay, so now we have this cutout that I'm going to be able to incorporate into the layout. I'll be reserving all of my leftover pieces until I am completely done working through the collection. All right, thanks so much. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this coordinating piece to go with our layout. All right, I already have my piece set. So what I've done is I've cut this 1/4 inch smaller than the overlay. That way it's just real easy for me to put it on top and I don't have to struggle with that. I actually showed that in a video, or I think I cut it a 1/2. Let's see what I cut that at. Nope, 1/4 inch. So this is 10 3/4 by 4 1/4. All right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put those strips on an angle, and I'm using the stripes that are from Project 3. When you flip these over, though, some of these will show you cut lines. We're going to remove those so I can keep the dovetails, and on just the smaller ones, we're going to use, we don't need all of the papers that we have here. We would trim those away anyway. So I'm just grabbing all those and sorting through my pile. Okay, here we go. I think there was one more dovetail that I wanted to keep right here. Okay, on these shorter ones here, I'm going to be keeping those 2 dovetails that are on the back of that paprika. All right, so these are the dovetails that I'm looking to keep. And I've even pulled in a piece of the extra zip strip that I had that I used. So we'll go ahead and put this together. But if you don't have the matching papers that I have when we start to lay this out, don't worry about it. Just any of the coordinating papers are going to work well. I'm ignoring the dovetail cut on this because I'm making these stripes. Now I want to keep these at about a 45-degree angle, and I just want to show you a quick tip for that. Okay, you can take your ruler and actually use your Versamat. I'm going to keep your stripes at the same length. I want it to be able to go from the top of this piece to the bottom of this piece, and then it sticks out. And I can see here that if I line my ruler up at 5 1/4 and 7 1/4, I will be on the exact same angle as this one here. So we'll just take this and I will line this up at 7 1/4, and I'll line this one up at 5 1/4. And I know that if I follow along this, then my angle is about the same. I'm going to choose a shorter piece for that. I'll choose, I think that's not one of the zip strips, so I don't want to start off. I'm going to do this red striped one right here. And the angle is going to be the same either way, but I'm just going to go ahead and lay that down. And by either way, I meant whichever side of the ruler you would decide to use. There you go. Okay, so now I can go ahead and follow along with whatever strips that I would like. And I should have with a 1/4 of an inch in between, just like we did on the first one. Don't worry about getting it all the way to the edge, because remember, we have that border to go around it. I'm just gonna go ahead and get some of the strips done, and then I'll hang them off so I can kind of look at what I have. I'd like a nice variety. That one's pretty too. Use that one on the end. And I'm going to want this one here. I'm going to reserve the 2 dovetails off of this Project 3 as well right here. I like the little cut lines. I think they're going to make it easier for some people who maybe don't like to dovetail. Okay, I don't want 2 really big ones next to each other, so I'm going to skip that one and move to this. And I do want to check this one before it sets very quickly. If you have any doubt, lay your overlay on top of it and just make sure that it's going to cover. See, I'm like right there with it. So that little drop right there is a little bit close. All right. Just sticking with that 1/4 of an inch. Hoping that I'm moving this up so that it will work going across. I want to choose a different size. I don't want to go from a 1/2 inch, you know, so I want to put this one in here next. I don't want to go 1/2 inch to the 1 inch to a 1/2 inch to a 1 inch. There we go. Now this one. This matches this here, so I also don't want to put that on that end either. I'm going to grab that plaid one that I have that I haven't used yet, this one here. I'm just going to cut those dovetails off too, because I don't need them, so might as well. I'm only going to need a little bit of this. I don't think we're going to need to go past this one, but we shall see. Oh, that's a reserve. This one here would be great. And we're going to go one more after this. I have this little piece right here that I kept as a dovetail. Now I'm debating on, I think I like that. I'm actually going to use the one that I was going to reserve as a dovetail because I like having that color in there again. And there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to trim the edges off of this. Okay, there's two ways you can do it. You can grab your straight cutter and you can slide it and cut them all off. But sometimes I find that the adhesive that I've put on kind of gets stuck on my cutter when I go to lift. So I'm going to go with it this way. Sometimes old school's best. Okay. All set. All set. All right. Doesn't that look great? All right. I want to do a little check over here on the corner just in case if I need to add a little piece. Let's bring the frame in. Nope, it is good to go. Doesn't that look fantastic? That is going to look so good with our coordinated striping. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the dashed lines around it using the same technique that I shared when I did layout 1. So I will make sure that I link this down in the description of the video as well in case you want to go ahead back and grab that. Thanks so much. Okay, so as I showed in the prior videos, I completed my diagonal striping as well as my overlay piece. The stitching I did just like I did in the first video, and I'll make sure that first video is linked. I just do these things to save time, to cut down on the overall time of the videos, and I think it's also great to follow along as the series. The other thing that I'll be making sure to add is I am shopping my stash. I'm currently digging through everything in my scrapbook room, and if I have it, I'm getting it out and I'm using it. If I don't think I can use it or match it up with something so that it's right there waiting for me to use, it's got to go. I'm really looking to do a lot more with less, but use up all these things and make room for the new. I forgot to put these leaves on that I showed in the first video. I did do a mention in the description, but here they are. I added those leaves, and I don't want to make sure I don't forget them for this one. I have other plans for those pumpkins, but this was something that was sent to me by a crafty secret sister that I had several years ago. Hello, Kim, once again, if you are watching. All right, just going to cut that off and lay that aside. And I colored these leaves with our paprika ink here on the left and the spiced marmalade distressed oxide for the two on the right. All right, I want to add a little bit of ink to this overlay piece here, kind of like I see right here and right here, but I want to keep it just on this. So I'm going to just grab a little mat that I have underneath and my spiced marmalade distressed oxide ink. And I would like to add some on this one, on the first page. I made sure that it was right where they were kind of pictured, but this is a new piece for us. So we're going to go right here on the bottom right. And then I also want to add some to the top left. I want this one to be darker. Kind of come dark to light a little bit. I'm going to be tucking some leaves over on this area, so I want to make sure I have enough for it to stand out. And I think I would like it just a little bit darker here as well. Okay. There we go. I think that's great. Okay, let's try to line back up here and go ahead and start putting some pieces down. I am going to work on this overlay piece first. I'm just going to move this out of the way for a couple of minutes, but I'll bring it back in. I love working with two Versamats, whether I'm stamping on one side or I keep all of my stuff laid out, or if I'm doing a 2-page layout, same, love it all. All right, so for this one here, I'm just going to put my adhesive all the way around the edge. That way, this is also more stable to get the adhesive on. And in the prior video, I mentioned that I did not cut this the same size as this so that I have, it's a little forgiving. All right, I'm making sure that I get a little bit of that plaid in right there. And there we go. Isn't that gorgeous? It's going to be really good. Okay. All right, I want to build up a base before I start adding a couple of these embellishments that I've chosen. So what I have here is a 12 by 12 sheet of our desert rose paper. And for all the products, I'll make sure I put links in the descriptions in case you guys want to go look at them a little bit further and see all the details. This is cut at 11 by 11. And this is a piece of the Cozy Up cardstock pattern paper that comes in the kit. And this was a great way for me to add some of the added desert rose. It's not a color that I use often, so when it's included in one of the collections, I like to try to bring it out and use it a little bit. Okay, a 1/2 inch all the way around. I'm loving this already for my leafer. I think it looks really good. Okay. And then this is a piece of the custom paper that you get only in the Scrapbook workshop. And that is one of my favorite things to do. The overlays that I'm using are also part of that custom paper that you get in the Scrapbook workshop as well. I love them. They're my favorite. I even try to stretch them. So this piece here, I've cut at 5.5 by 12, and it's going to go all the way across. And I'm just lining that up. And I am placing that 3¼ inches down or 3¼ inches up all the way across. Okay, and then this zip strip, and this has a lot of little words in it, and it does say like books to read, autumn wishes, pumpkin kisses, falling leaves. I really liked it. I think it's a lot, and guess what I do while I'm on a cruise? I read. So I normally take a few books with me, and so I thought that that was kind of a nice little way to put that in there, but I don't know that people are going to get close enough to actually read this. Just right on top of that, this is going to also add that all the color palette is in this, and I love that, plus a lot of that mocha that we're going to bring in with our photo mats. Okay, you can kind of see how this is all shaping up, and I think it's going to look really great. All right, I know that I don't want to use my whole circle, and I only want to use half of it, so I didn't want to tuck it. Because it's lined and it has the stripes that are gone across. I liked that as well, because in the original page, I mentioned that I made sure my stripes were gone across. And then on this one here, when I cut it, I have my stripes gone across. So it kind of, you know, stays with that theme. Now, I'm not great at cutting straight. I always say God has a sense of humor. I'm a paper crafter, but I'm going to try to just kind of line this up and get a little bit straight of a cut if I can. Using this kind of, if it can touch like one line, and then I can use the other line kind of thing. I'm going to say right about there. I'm not perfectly in half, but I'm close. It's, you know, just slightly off. I think that amount is going to look good right there. Okay. And then this way I can use that other half of a circle, and it also has the circle theme that is right here that we used on layout 1 with those lines going across as well. We do have some slight lines that are going down on the journaling strips and the dovetails on the other one, but we had that same paper behind it, and I think it all works. All right, let's go ahead and put this one down. I hope that Distress Oxide ink has dried enough. Okay, and this is going to leave a 1/2 inch all the way around, and that 1/2 inch size is followed by all of our cuts. So we have a 1/2 inch, a 1/2 inch, we have a 1/2 inch here, we've included 1/2 inches here, we have 1/2 inch journaling strips gone in the bottom, so it really adds for a nice cohesive look. All right, let's put our circle in, and that's going over the zip strip, and I'm gonna say it's about 1 inch in, but you'll just get it in there and it'll look great. There we go. All right, I have my photo mats here, and this one here is cut out of the Cozy Up paper. The one side is this brown plaid, and the other side is a paprika stripe. Almost got me, right? Or scarlet. This is a scarlet stripe. And my stripes are gone across when I cut that. And then for this, I have a piece of mocha, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and then 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, and I just cut one long strip at 4 1/4, cut this piece off, and then got the other piece out of this, and I normally have a little square left over. All right. Now, if you kind of want to check for measurements, you can do that. I knew that I wanted to kind of anchor this up so I could bring this up a little higher because I don't want to hide all the work we did. I don't want to hide all of the diagonal we did. So as long as I'm, you know, a little lower than that or even with, and I'm going to put that on an angle. And then I have this photo place card on upside down. Let's take that off for a quick second. I think I had them both the one way. Let me double check just in case. Excuse me. Yeah, those are going that way. Let me just go ahead and flip this over really quickly. I also like using these when I'm doing pre-done layouts because I think it gives a better idea of just how much is going to be shown. I like this, but we're just going to flip these two so that the scarlet piece is in the center. Put those on an angle just like the ones on the other page. And we don't want to cover, I'm keeping the parts that are touching here. This one went outside the frame. So I'm going to go just outside the frame on this side, so it doesn't look like that one was an accident. I think that one goes just a little bit higher. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so now I have these two little zip strips that are from Project 1, and I want to use these for some additional journaling. Now on page 1, I brought those in to add a couple of little dates to it, and I dovetail them, so what's good for one side is good for the other. You do not have to dovetail yours if, you know, you're not a fan. I just have them both lined up together, and I'm just going to give them a quick snip up the center, and then from the edges to that little center mark. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and get this back in the grid for its happy place there. I really like how this is turning out. I think one of the reasons why I like to, I'm going to trim a little off of this, like to scrapbook with the autumn color so much is because it's my favorite color palette. I always feel good about everything that I'm making. I tend to like it more. There we go. I like that. That'll give us a great place to add some items. This is from Project 1. It is a dovetail. I think you have 2 of them in this kit. And now this one here, we are going to bring down to the frame. And that way it's going to sit just like that. And when we add some leaves, it's going to make a really pretty focal. I have a couple of arrows set aside here in case I decide to use them and my bling, but I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to be adding those. I want to add my leaves first. And I want my leaves to match what we did on the first layout. So the big thing is to just kind of anchor each set of leaves with one of these big leaves. These were all cut with the simple leaves. And this one here is toffee, the light side of toffee, stamped with toffee with a mocha on top. I did all the brown ones that way. And then all the colored leaves that you see, I just alternated. But I wanted to share a little tip. If you know you're going to tuck your leaves, don't worry about getting the bottom of your thin cuts. I had this piece of paper that was a little short and it was a scrap and I went ahead and used it. It probably would have ended up in the trash, but it was a great to use and I knew that I was going to be tucking my leaves, so it worked out perfectly. All right, I'm going to go ahead and lay out some of my leaves. I'm going to be using 2 more of the larger leaf clusters, and then I think I might change one up. Okay. Oh, on the other one, I did add one big. I did 2 of the brown and then 1 of the large in the honey butter. Okay. I think for this one, I've had just going to tuck. I want to make sure wherever I decide to go, I'm going to be able to do this extra little one that I'm going to put. All right, I think right here is going to be great. Just let's decide which one we want to go with it. And I'm thinking, because that spice marmalade in the back, and then we have that honey butter, I think I'm going to go with this one. So this one here is paprika, the light side stamped with paprika with a scarlet top. I think that one there kind of gives all the colors that we're using, and I like that. Okay, let's grab one of these. This is honey butter. It's the dark side of honey butter up, stamped honey butter with nectarine. And I have a couple of words. This one here says welcome autumn, and that's going to go right here. That came right off the sticker sheet. I have another one here that just says grateful, and I'm hoping to add that in. And then of course I have these little leaves here. So let's go ahead and add our final embellishments. And I want to put another one over here, but I think I'm just going to use 2 small ones. I might have to do a swap out, so I don't have 2 of those 2 of the tops in the same nectarine. I just like to have the different colors. Oh yeah, there we go. I'm loving that. And then I'm going to be adding these additional leaves over here. Let's go ahead and get those down. The little overlays for the leaves, they take a few minutes, but they're really worth it. And I highly suggest, if you know you're going to be using a lot of them, to put some of your scraps aside so that you can, you know, either cut those as you're doing other thin cuts. The little overlay, it does take a little bit of the finagling to mess with that. But once you do a few, it gets really easy. I just used my precision tip glue, and it worked out really well. I'm tucking this one so you can kind of see that that comes all the way over, but I just want to make sure that my inking is flattering. I don't want the white stripe, I just want the plaid, so a little adjustment right there. All right, and our final one here. I love all these leaves, and I can't imagine how many I'm going to need to scrapbook this cruise. I'm really excited. We're going up at the end of October, which is my understanding is the prime time to go. And we go to a lot of ports. It's 9 days, and this is a bucket list of mine, so I'm really excited to go. And kind of an anniversary trip for George and I, as well, as we're celebrating 30 years next year. All right, I'm just going to cut this on the diagonal. This is just a little leftover dovetail piece that I had. I decided I like this plaid so much I didn't need to dovetail it. It's going to kind of go right tucked under here. I love paper tucking. It really brings so much color. This is kind of because I have that little label right there, and I have this dovetail here. It kind of just brings that over into this layout, since I know that these two are going to be going next to each other. All right, let's add some of these leaves. I have this orange one here, and I think I'm going to put that right over here. Not going to push down yet, okay? I have a paprika one for up here. There we go. Decisions, decisions always. I don't want to go leaf crazy. I think I'm just going to go with the 2. I think I'm going to go with the 2 for right now until I add my bling, and then if I want to come in and add that second one, or that third one, excuse me, I certainly can. Okay, so I'm going to grab the sticker sheet, and one of the things I want to do is add some more of these little hearts. On layout 1, I added some hearts and some bling. Hearts and bling here. Stayed away from the stars for this one, just all hearts and the bling. This is the toffee heart. We're going to add that, and that one is going to go right down here. All right, jumping over, there's a paprika one right here. This one is going right up here, kind of on an angle. It'll be getting a couple of friends in just a moment. And there is a scarlet heart right here. Okay, and our scarlet heart, you know, I'm not loving the toffee one here. I think it's just kind of blending in with those leaves as I'm looking at it. So I'm just going to move this one and I'm going to put it right here. And then we have this scarlet one that's going to go right over here. And most of my hearts, these two hearts are straight and that one's on a little angle. Now we're going in for the hearts. I want to grab that large middle and bring it right down here. And then I want to grab a glitter gem, and I'm going to grab the small of that scarlet. There we go. I'm going to grab a medium of the scarlet, and it is going to go on this side here. It's on an angle as well. And then I'm grabbing the toffee glitter gem. And I'm going to bring that in right there. And then for this little guy over here, it's going to get, that's a tough, I'm going to grab the little one. I'm going to grab the little one, and it's going to go right there. And that one says, give me, looks like I'm going to have a scarlet with a scarlet, but because it's glitter, it just works. I'm going to put it right there. Okay, there we go. Wow, this is looking really good. Okay, I'm really loving this. I think it has come together really nicely. It has all the things. When I'm done and it has all the things, I get really happy. I have enough to do some short journaling, which is all I need. So I plan on doing, I have already have some poems that I'm going to be adding to this book for autumn. I have things about leaves that I'm adding. I love to add history about all the places that I've been. You know, wherever I go any place. So I'll have some of that, but I'm going to have pages that have a lot of journaling on them. So this is just a really nice balance to have it. Now, this page is a standalone page. This can go completely by itself. It's beautiful. What a great sketch we have. Awesome technique to do as a remix. But you can see here, when we bring in both pages and we put them together, they're going to look amazing. One of the things that I actually like is when my two back pages, I like when they match, but I also like when they don't match. I have people ask me all the time, like, did you do that on purpose? I actually do. And if you look at a lot of my 2-page layouts, you'll see that I often put coordinating colors in the back that I've pulled out, but I really like them to look like they kind of go together, but they don't perfectly always match. Kind of like my home, ha ha ha. Okay, so I'm going to show you the close-up on a couple of these. You can see the leaves look really great with that spiced marmalade. It is just a really nice match for that nectarine color that we're seeing in here. And I've added subtle notes of the nectarine using the little leaves, as well as coloring my wood leaves with that spiced marmalade. And there you go. And it has wonderful depth and dimension because of all the layers. I want to thank you guys for letting me craft with you and share my craft journey with you. If you found this video helpful or you liked anything you saw, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. If you want to leave me a comment, I'll make sure to send one back your way. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.